Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. This week's news brought to you by What's Really Happening. Yes, so let's start with some Bond updates. It's been a while since real news came out after Amazon bought creative rights from the Broccoli's, so let's see where things stand now. Amazon wants to and plans to shoot the movie next year already, but a script, a director, and a new Bond is yet to be decided. So a few names are popping up as possibilities. So first, apparently, actor Aaron Pierre has been tossed around for Bond. He's known for Rebel Ridge last year on Netflix, a film that comes up once in a while on the Daily Ratings. And I gotta say, I can see it. It would kinda be cool to have him. But the bulk of the names being thrown around are for directors. So Amazon says they will have a director picked by the end of the summer. First, though, director Alfonso Cuarón will not be directing and has bowed out of the project. He was an early contender, but after pitching his idea to Amazon, it seems like they want to go in a different direction. A podcast favorite, Edward Berger, old Eddie Slider, has made a pitch for the film. Berger made Conclave last year, and a Tom Daly Best Picture winner, All Quiet on the Western Front, in 2022. And Denis Villeneuve is apparently working on his take of a film right now, and he will be pitching Amazon. And another highly interested person is Steve McQueen, not the handsome actor who passed away years ago, but the director who made the Oscar-winning film 12 Years a Slave. He's interested. And then others who have shown interest are Paul King, who directed Paddington and the Wonka film, Jonathan Nolan, Chris Nolan's brother, and he's actually written a lot of films alongside Chris Nolan, and he's directed episodes of Westworld and Fallout on Amazon. And lastly, there's Edgar Wright, which might make it a little interesting, maybe a little fun, but pretty cool nonetheless, I'm sure, if Edgar Wright was to helm the project. So a lot needs to be decided here soon, though. After a director is chosen this summer, a script needs to be prepared in order to start shooting next year. And the rumor is that Amazon wants to release the film in May of 2027, which is pretty early in the year, so they really need to get a move on. I'm sure we're going to have some big announcements coming soon. Some more timeline news, a story that no one is really talking about, but it's Steven Spielberg. So Spielberg's next film literally wrapped production 3 weeks ago. It's super secret, there's no title, no plot, no character details. His longtime friend and writing partner David Koepp is back at it and penned the script for Spielberg. But Steven was much more involved than usual when it came to the story. So Koepp said that Steven gave him a 50-page outline for the story himself and came up with the entire idea himself. So Koepp said, quote, "He was as involved as I've ever seen him on any movie I've written for him to direct." The cast is starring Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, and Wyatt Russell. It's going to be a space UFO-ish film, and that's really all we know. It's going to be a little bit older school Spielberg, from what we the little bit trickling from it. Actor Jack O'Connor gave a little something to us, saying, quote, "Yes, it's like a sci-fi." Well, I don't know. I'm not supposed to say. It does harken back to maybe a different tone than what he's done lately. Something he used to do that he hasn't done for a little bit. End quote. So the film is scheduled for an early June release of next year, and we'll just see how it all shakes out. Ron Howard will be directing again. He actually has 2 movies happening. So one is a firefighting movie with Glenn Powell starring, and the other is newly announced Alone at Dawn. It's based off the book, but it recounts the true events that took place in the Afghanistan war, involving an Air Force combat controller risking his life to save 23 fellow soldiers. It's been a rough decade and a half for Ron. He was one of the biggest directors out there at one time, but kind of lately has had some misses, and his successes have been very quiet, very small. But he does continue on, and for both this film and the firefighter movie, it could give him a real chance at punching back into the A-tier directors list. We have recently been discussing Jeremy Saulnier's next film, which was untitled up until now. So October will be the name of the gritty, intense thriller, and along with an actual title comes the lead star. Actor Corey Michael Smith will be the lead role for the new film. Corey did a great job playing Chevy Chase in the SNL movie, and he was also in the HBO film Mountainhead. I like this actor. Vin was kind of into this actor, so he does seem pretty cool. We're pumped that he's getting to be working with Saulnier, and we'll kind of see what this thriller turns out to be. And again, Saulnier is hoping to start filming that film this year. Next to Johnny Depp. So Disney hasn't officially announced Pirates of the Caribbean 6, but apparently Disney is for sure making Pirates of the Caribbean 6. And actually 2 scripts were already being written, it was rumored. One of them was a Margot Robbie-led reboot, And the other script, which is most likely the one that will be chosen, involves bringing back some of the original cast. And on top of that list is Jack Sparrow himself. So many more updates will unfold on this, but so far, and although it's just rumors, they seem pretty loud. During the Amber Heard debacle, Disney dropped Depp from ever returning, and then Depp shot back publicly, saying that he wouldn't work for Disney again, not for $300 million and a million alpacas. But time heals all wounds, and money really is that good in the end, I guess. So, like I said, rumors everywhere, but definites are coming soon. And then I just have some quickies here. So Harold and Kumar 4 is in the works, with the Cobra Kai creators returning to the franchise. Dave Bautista will be joining the cast of Roadhouse 2, which makes nothing but sense. And then John Bernthal's Punisher character, he will be entering into the Spideyverse. And not the animated movies, but rather the Tom Holland upcoming 4th Spider-Man film, Brand New Day. Bernthal is great and visceral, so it could add some grit to those very safe movies. But let's jump into the box office for this past weekend, folks. So the 5th highest grossing movie this weekend was Mission Impossible Final Reckoning with $6.6 million. 4th was Lilo and Stitch with $9.7 million. 3rd was Elio, newly released Pixar film, making just $21 million. That is the worst opening weekend for a Pixar film ever. So a little scary. Second best at the box office was also newly released, that's 28 years later, making $30 million. And the biggest movie of the weekend, and for the second week in a row, was How to Train Your Dragon with $37 million, which really kind of puts Elio down. I mean, a new Pixar kid movie can't beat out the second week live action of a remake movie. Kind of crazy, but hey, I guess the kids weren't feeling Elio. So coming up this Thursday, Vincent Daly will be watching, rating, and reviewing. It's Danny Boyle week, so we have 5 films from Mr. Boyle. First, we're covering Trainspotting back in 1998, then Slumdog Millionaire in 2008. We'll have James Franco in 127 Hours in 2010, Steve Jobs from 2015, and lastly, of course, newly released 28 years later, which is getting a whole variety of opinions. So, a pretty heavy-hitting week we got here. Excited to talk all these films with Vin this coming Thursday. It's going to be a great time as always. But that's it for your weekly movie news, folks. We'll leave you today with a quote from a director, Steven Spielberg. My problem is that my imagination won't turn off. I wake up so excited, I can't eat breakfast. I've never run out of energy. It's not like OPEC oil. I don't worry about a premium going on my energy. It's just always been there. I got it from my mom. And all right, folks, the Daily Ratings weekly movie news podcast, that was it. See you on Thursday.